Jordana, what more can you tell us about, first of all, this possible hostage deal?
Well, I mean, the good news is that all the parties are at the table. Momentum seems to be growing, as well as pressure from the United States, which has always helped. It played a critical role in getting the sides to agree to the last hostage deal in November. So the good news is that the talks are intense and active. The bad news is that we haven't really heard that there's been a real breakthrough uh, on the wider long-term vision for Gaza. There's still huge gaps between the parties. Again, Hamas wants the war to end. It wants every soldier to leave the Gaza Strip. It wants all of the jailed Palestinian criminals here in Israel released early. Israel, on the other side, wants to only agree to a pause, even though it may be 6 weeks or 10 weeks or 12 weeks. It wants to keep the option open of continuing this war because it feels that it has not met its goal of dismantling Hamas and pushing it out of the Gaza Strip. Israel also has made it quite clear, even though there's opposition to this from Washington, that it wants to hold and keep a security buffer, perhaps as large as a kilometer or more, along the whole eastern side of the Gaza Strip to ensure that its civilians can come back to some of those communities that were so devastated on October 7th. And of course, the big sticking point is that Hamas still wants to retain some control of the Gaza Strip, a role in post-war Gaza, and that is absolutely, a non-starter for Israel, the United States, and many other Western leaders. So the big issue is still outstanding. Could we see the United States, Qatar, and Egypt convince the parties to agree to a first phase of this deal? Say, hey, guys, let's try to work out a larger plan, but let's implement now what can already be done. Let's let out about 40 Israeli hostages, the women who are civilians, the elderly, the injured. Let's get them out and we'll pause the fighting for somewhere between 1 to 2 months and then take it from there. Maybe that is the best we will see for now, which will be still something positive given how desperate and how much anguish the families of hostages here in Israel feel. And they have really ramped up their pressure on Prime Minister Netanyahu to cut some deal to get their loved ones out.
Jordana, of course, this all comes as the U.S. has now blamed an Iran-backed militia for the deaths of 3 American soldiers in Jordan earlier this week. What kind of effect could U.S. reaction to that have on regional tensions at the moment and the very real fears of spillover in the war?
Right. Well, I think everyone here is just waiting and watching anxiously to see what President Biden has chosen to respond to this very deadly attack on U.S. servicemen, 3 killed, 40 injured, a pro-Iranian Iraqi militia carrying that out, according to the United States. And, depending on the severity of the response by the United States, there's a lot of fears here that it could kick off and possibly widen this conflict. Remember, tensions are already extremely high on Israel's northern border between Israel and Hezbollah. Sirens just went off in the last hour in the north again. It is a daily tit for tat and intensifying exchanges between Israel and Hezbollah. And every day that goes by brings the risk of some miscalculation or error that could widen this conflict. And if the United States chooses some severe response, that could also, it could also widen this out and bring Hezbollah into this conflict and open another front in this war. That is why, of course, the attack has put President Biden in such a difficult position. He has to very, very carefully choose his response.
Jordana, thanks for that. Jordana Miller, live in Jerusalem.
Thanks.